So here it comes. You're gonna see at 11:58:58, it cuts to 12 o'clock. Here we go. At 58, it's gonna cut. Right? You see that? And then it cuts to 12. The cameras were turned off for 1 minute. Nah, that is insanity.
I think a lot of people need to hear this. But the fact of the matter is, Elon Musk was correct when he said Trump's in the Epstein files.
I mean, we know he is. We know he's all over the flight logs, right?
Really think
and
it's
the
debatable.
phone messages.
I think it's a very black and white issue. I think there's very, very little gray area. So let's start with this one. Midas Touch posted this the other day.
All right, so this is when he sat down with Fox News last summer before the election, and Trump says, I'm going to release the JFK files. And they're like, will you release Epstein? He's like, yeah, well, I'm not sure about Epstein because we don't want to falsely accuse. We don't want to get people in trouble if they didn't do anything. This is what this clip.
Let's start with the one on the right, which is, this is the edited version that Fox posted of what Trump said when he was asked, hey, would you declassify the Epstein files? Listen to this.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Attorney General.
All right.
Did you notice that quick cut?
Now watch the unedited version. He hedges and goes back and says, well, maybe not the Epstein.
Here's what his actual answer was, y'all.
Here it comes.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
See, that was the answer that I remember. I made a video on this because I was like, bro, that ain't the answer. Like, you see the hedging, okay? The hedging of like, well, You know what I mean? We don't want to do the whole thing. Because my name is up, down, and sideways on this thing. And like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want to...
And I wonder whose ass he's trying to cover. One more time. Listen closely.
I wonder if his name is Donald J. Trump.
Again.
That less so because,
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
There's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. He's like, there's a lot of golden showers with those Russian prostitutes, right? There's a lot of Donnie stuff. I think John Barron was up to some no good.
What a dishonest edit from Fox News. By the way, remember, Trump is suing, I think it's CBS, for how they edited a Kamala Harris 60 Minutes interview.
What's so fascinating about the Epstein situation is how, like, they just flip-flopped. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have talked for years about Epstein. Conspiracy. They were on this thing. It, like, occupied the forefront of their content, making a huge deal. Everything was like Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Right? They did this right before they got in charge of the FBI. Then they get given the FBI. And then literally the minute they get in there, Pam Bondi, it's on my desk. I have the list on my desk. Bongino's like, the list is here. We've got this shit. They had been talking about Epstein being murdered for years. And now they just release a statement that flip-flops everything they've been talking about for years. Right? No list. Now there's not even a list. No list, no names, no conspiracy, no murder. Case closed. Bye-bye. Right? It is the craziest horse shit that we have ever seen. But yeah, dude, Pam, she is weird, dude. It's like she doesn't eat. She weighs like 90 pounds. She's like one of the skinniest people I've ever seen. She looks like she's trying to escape her own skin, all jacked out on Ozempic, and she kind of dresses like a Mennonite. or like a Jehovah's Witness. She's got this weird Christian thing going on with these really big crosses. And she is crazy. She is batshit. She is like the stern church woman who would like cut your fingers off for putting your hand in the cookie jar and then put the fingers in a jar at the table next to you while you eat breakfast. She's got a real Misery vibe to her. Remember Kathy Bates in Misery? She's got a little bit of that vibe for sure. So let's go back to February. Here's what she said in February.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
So there she was in February saying, it's on my desk. I'm like, huh, all right. The list was on her desk in February. And today in July, the list doesn't exist. So I'm kind of curious then with Pam Bondi. What was on your desk back in February? Right? It's a list. You said nothing on it surprised you. Now there is no list. So the $1 million question is, what was on the desk? What was on her desk? Was that a human grocery list? Was that a list of Chippendales dancers that also happen to be high-level government officials? Was that a list of, men in government who also have Grindr profiles? I mean, Elon came out with the tweet. Right here it is. Dude, time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Elon posted this just to be angry or whatever, but I don't think it was just to be angry. I think there's absolutely truth to this. Trump was Elon's bestie. We know they are connected. We know there's something in there. Oh, he knows. Dude, he knows. He's got access. Now the FBI and the DOJ conclude Epstein had no client list and he was not murdered. He committed suicide. I mean, bro, it's not even like we're not releasing the list. Now they're saying the list doesn't even exist. Think about that. For months, right? For months, they said that the list is on the desk. We have the list. It's coming out any day now. Now they're saying this thing doesn't even exist. But now here's what's really crazy is Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, okay? They put her in prison for running this thing and procuring the girls and being party to this. So clearly they know who was fucking around. They're saying they have a whole bunch of videos of sex acts. So there are people in those videos. This is outrageous. Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded they have no evidence that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. The administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that says it indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died in 2019. They're saying that this is him. That's Epstein. All right. I see the gray hair. Right. I see the gray hair. They lead him down and they take him to his cell. Okay. So there we go. So there we have it. So his cell is somewhere off to the right. Here it comes. 56, 57, 58. Cut. Boom. Yeah, so Epstein is on the lower level somewhere over here. And presumably this is the only way in. That's wild, man. That is some wild shit, guys. Oh, Lord, that is wild. In a minute, there's a number of things they could do, right? A couple guys could walk in and just pull him across the room and get him out of the building. Or they could have a bunch of guys go in and load him up with some whatever. You know, who knows what happened? I mean, 60 seconds is a long time. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie with George Clooney, Michael Clayton. There's a scene in Michael Clayton where these guys knock on the door of the lawyer, and the lawyer answers the door, and they like cattle prod him, and then they grab him and carry him to the bathroom, strip him down, inject him with shit. The guy's timing it. They're on a timer, hits a vein in the foot, and they just extinguish this guy in almost instantaneously, right? It's like 90 seconds from the time they walk in. I mean, it can be done really, really fast by professional crews, of course. But yeah, that is so sus. I mean, I can't think of a reason why a jail camera would drop out like that. And still the big discrepancy is this bad boy, right? 11:58. There's a cut right here. Boom. That cuts to midnight. So that is wildly unexplainable. Now, the one thing I will say, we just looked through this whole video. The one thing I didn't see is I did not see like regular 15-minute checks. This is his cell. A chaotic state of his cell, which is just a bunch of like orange sheets. A mattress sits on the floor and orange bed sheets strewn about the room. Another photo is a close-up of one of the bed sheets that had been tied into a noose. It's not known whether that noose was used in his suicide. The medical examiner ruled his death a suicide by hanging. 60 Minutes also released images of his corpse and bloody marks stretched across the middle of his neck. And they released a photo of the note that says, blank kept me in a locked shower stall for 1 hour. Noel sent me burnt food. Giant bugs crawling over my hands. No fun. Found non-responsive with the noose around his neck. 2 prison guards who failed to check on him the night he died and falsified logs saying they had done so. So that's crazy. So here's what we got, guys. Okay, we've got the mysterious circumstances of him with some weird fucking note. We have 2 guards that didn't check on him and then falsified the records, saying that they did check on him. They were charged with federal conspiracy and filing false records. In the indictment detailing the charges against the guards, prosecutors say Epstein was alone in his cell all night. Internal surveillance video shows no one entered the tier where he was housed, but there is 1 minute missing, right? From 11:58 to midnight. The indictment says 3 weeks before his death, he was found on the floors of his cell with a strip of bed sheet around his neck and was placed on suicide watch. Dude, yeah, there's some shit, bro. Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking and related offenses, and no one else will be charged. And yes, Virginia took her own life. Like, maybe. I mean, we don't know what's going on. It's crazy. Now, about that, like, yeah, the 20 years, isn't that crazy? So Pam Bondi is trying to get a stiffer sentence for vandalizing a Tesla. If you vandalize a Tesla, they're going to try to give you more years than Ghislaine Maxwell got for running a child sex trafficking ring. And all the guys that slept with those young girls are getting nothing. They're getting 0. Yikes. Investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So, like, how did they put Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for child sex trafficking if they don't have any evidence of, like, child sex happening? Like, what are we doing here? As MAGA influencers, Patel and Bongino had been among the loudest voices touting Epstein conspiracy theories. Since joining the government as Trump appointees, they've been more measured in talking about the Epstein investigation and thrown cold water on the notion he was murdered. He killed himself, Bongino said on Fox News in May. I've seen the whole file. Remember the interview with Bongino and Kash Patel when Bongino looked like he had snorted like 18 lines of Adderall? Jesus. MAGA's media universe and some of its voices on Capitol Hill have expressed frustration with the Trump admin and how they handled the Epstein case since February when DOJ released a tranche of Epstein-related files that were already publicly available. Now that was this little episode that Brian Tyler Cohen reminded us about earlier today, where they released those big binders. And then people like Haya Reichek of Libs and DC Draino and Scott Pressler and Liz Wheeler and all these MAGA shitheads went there and they got the binders. It was a big Epstein day. Oh my gosh. And then if you remember, DC Draino opened his at the airport and live streamed it. And dude, it was hilarious. Look at this. This is the binder they gave him. Look at that. Homie's live streaming his big find, dude. This is like right up there with Geraldo's vault. Dude, every page. Dude, he went live.
Again, for those just joining, I'm at the airport. This is literally my first live stream. Please bear with me. I've been in transit. We've had an extremely busy day meeting with
fucking Cox, bro.
Cabinet.
Dude, this is MAGA.
But I, like you, want to know as much about this information as possible.
Oh,
sorry
yeah.
If I skip any pages, my fingers are a little dry.
Yeah, you're a real crack reporter there, boss.
Out before my flight takes off.
Dude, it does look like a Rorschach test, bro.
God bless Trump. God bless America.
God bless Trump, he says.
God bless his administration, Attorney General Pam Bondi.
God bless.
And others for having the courage
redaction.
To information. Again,
An absolute cult.
This is new. But
this is like
a lot more evidence that is being secretly held.
The cultiest of the cult.
In either the FBI, DOJ, or some combination in their offices. And Pam Bondi has sent a letter demanding that it be sent to her tomorrow by 8 a.m. At that point, I imagine they will review the information. Right?
I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, how do you even do that? Sorry, I got to fix my chat here. I fucking ran out of memory. Dude, the Epstein files are broke the fucking chat, boss. Right? Epstein broke my chat, bro. Right? It's so crazy. But dude, how? Like, what I want to know with that is A, talk about the most embarrassing thing. You go live for your audience and you just flip page after page. It's all redacted. But B, what kind of absolute cucks are MAGA when like this shit happens to them and they still are there like sucking on the teat? What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.